Hi, Homeworthy. I'm Caroline, and welcome to my apartment in Washington, D.C. I can't wait to show you around, so come on in.
You're watching Homeworthy, where we believe every home has a story.
Hi, my name is Caroline Winkler. I'm an interior design YouTuber, and welcome to my townhouse in Washington, D.C. I moved into this apartment about 3 years ago, and at the time it was the first time I was looking to live on my own. I was really excited to just kind of solidify my own design style and how I wanted to live in a home. This apartment was the first that I toured, and I instantly loved it, but I was like, well, you can't move into the first apartment you tour. So I forced myself to see a couple more, and at the end, I was like, it's still the one, love at first sight. I think I really fell in love with the bay windows in the main living room that I'm sitting in right now. Windows to me are everything that, like, if you don't have good light and good natural light in your home, I think the interior design is a lot harder. I love all the old details. I love the dark wood floors, and I love that it's not open concept. It's a bunch of contained small spaces, which to me is so much more fun when you're trying to design and do a bunch more styles. I saw it when I loved it, and I've just loved it every day since. I think 3 words I'd use to describe my style, it's always hard, but maybe cozy for sure, self-explanatory. I just want it to be welcoming. I'd say autumnal, if that, like autumn-ish. I think that's my color palette that makes it feel like very warm to me. I like a bit of mood, but obviously there's still a lot of bright white walls, so I don't know if it's straight up moody, but autumnal, I would say. And then maybe anti-fragile. I don't know what a better word is for that, but by that I mean I feel like I'm always running around and breaking things, and I need stuff not to be fragile. I need it to be a home that I can actively live in, put my feet on the coffee table, like not worry about breaking something glass. I need my home to be like, I don't ever want to feel on edge like I'm about to break something. And I still do break things, and I just am not worried about it. Welcome to my living room. This is the room that the front apartment door opens up into, so you're immediately in my living room. Because this is also like the entry to the apartment, I have to have little drop zones and bowls around. Drawers are full of things that I need to get out the door. I usually put my keys here. And yeah, I think you always need to have like those go-to drop zone spots. And I also have a lot of fun just playing with the styling here, mixing up decor, moving it around, just can make your space feel completely new and different. This is another vase that I love. My brother made this by hand. It's a walnut ikebana vase, and it just allows you to like style flowers in this very modern way because they're these prongs that hold the flowers up. It's like a little piece of sculpture to me. I'm obsessed with it. Oh, I DIY'd, well, not much of a DIY, baby DIY'd this lampshade. It's just a plain, like old, probably IKEA lamp it was a white lampshade, and I just covered it in a little piece of fabric. Just give it a little personality, a little texture. This whole dresser, thrifted, I believe, Facebook Marketplace. And this is like a 19th century dresser. I love that it has these wood handles, and it's almost a little primitive, but has just enough detailing. I don't like anything that's too ornate or frilly. It's a little beat up, which is good for me. Yeah, and I store, I think people like to see in drawers. It's like gloves, batteries, stamps, YouTube equipment, and then the bottom is just my candy drawer and also wallpaper. It's all the necessities. This bowl, I wish I knew the full history. This was like my great aunt's. On the back it says 1874, and I believe this is from Berlin. A lot of my family comes from Berlin and then also from Vienna, and she just gave this to me for no good reason, and I'm really afraid of breaking it now, but it's really beautiful and also weirdly matches very well with the rest of my home. So I do love this guy. And then this was just like a little unique piece of pottery that a friend gave to me. He has a twin. The twin is over there somewhere holding up books, but I like that it's like, I think like a lot of my pieces, it's like fairly minimal, like not too crazy, but then there's just like something a little weird up here at the spout. I think that kind of like captures what I like a lot. This is the fireplace in my living room, which was not a working fireplace when I moved in. I got it working. There's a little gas unit. I would say it works 40% of the time now, which is fine. And I'm also always experimenting with styling on the mantle. It's just fun to layer stuff to me. Thrifted, let me think. Everything up here is thrifted. Got this for 20 bucks. It was one of the best days of my life. This is another just framed postcard in an old, just an old frame I think my mom had. It's cracked about 1,000,000 times, but I keep repairing it because I think it's so unique and beautiful. And then this piece was given to me by a family member who had a really cool art collection. It's an original oil painting. And then I thrifted these recently. They probably need to be cleaned, but I didn't clean them because that's authentic. I really love like little touches of silver and stuff. I get these super long candlesticks that are like 18 inches, and it's actually amazing my apartment hasn't burned down because there's always candles going. What else do we got over here? This is a little print of probably 18th century Amsterdam. I took a trip there and just fell in love with Amsterdam the way that I guess pretty much everybody does. And I have a couple little prints around from there. And then this vase I just think is weird, and I like that. And this tiling is just a peel and stick tile that I put, it was like a kind of a black stone here on the fireplace surround, and it was like just very intense. So I just did a temporary peel and stick tile. It stayed up pretty well given that it's a fireplace. And I really love just kind of a random touch of pattern when there's a lot of white over here. Yeah, I really like it. Let me show you my sconce. I love this sconce. I love all sconces, wall lighting. This one is really cool. It's a swing arm and it's like a wood lampshade, which I think is awesome. I try to aim to have at least like 3 light sources in every room. That's usually ends up being lamps or wall sconces, something like that. It just creates like a much more dynamic space. And then the only thing I didn't have room for over here was another side table because the couch is so pushed close to the fireplace. But I always want somewhere to set my phone or set my drink, so I just put up like a tiny baby shelf right here, and then, you know, can put your phone or something right there. Ta-da. I like it. This is my couch. I think it's just crate and barrel. It is so deep, so comfy. It's got this nice wide arm that I love. And honestly, there's like, people love the couch, but there's really nothing, I'm trying to clean stuff off of it. There's like nothing that special about it. I feel like it's a basic couch. It's pretty classic, and I dress it up more with like throw pillows. I love a throw blanket that I really love and brings all the colors in. And mostly I just needed it to be like extremely comfortable. I think I've gone the route before of trying to get like the spindly legged, like curved back couch that like you can't even really put your arm in, and you can't lean back, and no one can lay down to get cozy and watch a movie. And I wanted it to be very, very livable. I think probably in the future I will reupholster this guy and maybe put like an interesting pattern on it when I feel like it's looking old, but it's definitely something that I intend on keeping for the long term, and I love it. I know there'll be questions about this artwork. I DIY'd this. I didn't DIY it that well, but I still really like it. I was trying to figure out how to fill this big empty wall. I didn't want to do a gallery wall. I didn't want to do a bunch of little things and have it too visually busy. I wanted one giant piece, but also one giant art piece can be very expensive. So instead, I just took a bunch of fabric samples that I loved, and I painted this is like a canvas drop cloth that you would use for painting, and I just like painted it white, attached the samples, and then did my best at making a frame for it. The frame's kind of broken, so like don't zoom in on any of that, but it's been up for 3 years and I love it. I really do love it. I feel like it's It's unique, it's mine, I have a fun memory associated with it, and it does fill the wall. It was really fun to DIY a piece too, because then you get to control like what colors it's pulling from your space. So I definitely chose, you know, some of like these autumn hues that work really well with everything else in the room. And then up top, there's also one wallpaper sample, which is a wallpaper I used in a room I designed. So there's a couple just like, this like little touch of personal nostalgia in there too. Yeah, little time capsule. This is my dining area / office. I love using a dining table as a desk. Like I want to spread out. There's no desk in my home. I work here, I eat here, I people watch here. I'm always surveilling the street. It's the best. Like I love having the big windows. This dining table actually is the first thing I owned. I had this before I moved in to this apartment, and people were always saying like, oh, you should have a round table for the bay windows. That would be great, but this is the table I had. I got it for $300 off Facebook Marketplace, and I do love it. The legs come off and it can like fold up really easily. It's scratched up, it's scuffed, like I don't have to worry about a cup ring mark or pens or scratches. Like it just feels lived in, and it always feels great to me. I also love experimenting with the styling. I always have different things up on the table. I hide a lot of like my printer is hidden back here, don't film it. Like my office stuff, uglier things. And then I always just love having like plants and stuff in the window, some fresh flowers. This is actually a fake candle that I put up over the holidays, and I just like love coming home to a candle in the window, so that might stay there. That guy's new. The chairs I also thrifted. They came separately from the table. I just love I never know how to say this, tonette chair, I think is how you say it. Or they're also known as bentwood chairs. And yeah, I just thrifted them. They're pretty messed up. I'll tell you what, they're not that comfortable to sit in when I'm working all day, but I make it work. Oh, and then I think the other thing I like in this corner are the curtains. If you look closely, there is no curtain rod, because I was looking to see what kind of curtain rod I needed for bay windows, and it turns out it's just like very elaborate, very expensive to have a curtain rod wrap around. So I decided I would just put the curtains up without a rod, because I wasn't going to open them. They're more just decorative. They add texture and color to the wall. They add a little bit of warmth. They draw the eye up. You can't open or close these. They're just on hooks. They're just on hooks, and I like them. It was really important to me to do a colored curtain. First of all, I would say that this like ochre color is probably my favorite color. And I did debate painting this whole room this ochre color, and then eventually kind of decided against it. I'm renting, and it just felt like too much to paint at the moment. And so instead, it felt really important to like bring that color in a big central way. Somehow having like the floor to ceiling ochre curtains makes the whole room feel very colorful to me. I think without them, it would just feel like kind of a white room despite everything else that's happening. So I like finding those ways to like add a lot of color, add a lot of saturation. That's not gonna take me a week of painting and then unpainting if I ever move out. This is a smaller apartment, and I personally love that. I really don't dream of having like an expansive mansion, and that's for a couple reasons. Number one, it's so much easier to make it feel cozy. It's so much easier to make it feel intimate, and that's just a feeling I love in my home. And secondly, your money goes so much farther when you're decorating. Like if you have that teeny tiny bathroom, you can buy the fancy tile or the fancy wallpaper, because you only have to have like 3 of them, you know? Your money goes so much farther with decorating, your time goes farther, it takes less money and less energy to make a beautiful space, and that honestly feels great. I think this place is filled with a pretty good mix of vintage pieces, thrifted pieces, with kind of pops of modern. I find that I really like that balance. I think if I go all vintage, there was probably a phase where I went all vintage with my decor, and it felt more like I was like role-playing the past. So I really love adding in just like a modern lamp, a modern coffee table or something, and that makes it feel more authentic to me, and also I think more unique. Like only I could have put that together. And then there's also a ton of DIYs in here. I'm not gonna say they're all good because they're not, but they're fun. And I love doing like crafts and DIYs on my YouTube channel, or you know, if you see that piece of decor that you're like, I just can't justify the price, maybe I can figure out how to make it. I do that a lot. Oh, these are two little pictures I put behind my curtain. This is a postcard. I love framing postcards. They're always really cheap and are just as pretty as any print. This is also a postcard. This is a vintage one. And I put them weirdly like half behind this curtain, really just for myself, because I sit right in that chair directly across from them. I look at this little corner of the wall all the time, and there's really no like official design reason that I should hang something here like half behind a curtain, except that it's for me and I like looking at them, and I kind of like hiding stuff. I love hiding stuff. Like I firmly believe that your artwork does not need to be fully visible. It still adds to the room even if it's just layered behind things. I have one tiny little baby frame over here. I love little things. And this is actually a photograph of my mom when she was in the 3rd grade. People do often think it's me. We look alike, and I've got the bangs and everything, but I don't know, she gave me this frame at some point with like the whole vintage frame and the photograph, and I just love having it around, a little piece of personal history. These are all vases handmade by my brother, who is an amazing woodworker. He has his own channel, an Etsy shop. I'll link it. But yeah, he handmade each of these vases, and I just think they're like the most beautiful designs ever. I've never seen anything like them. They're solid walnut, and I love how they're like very modern and streamlined, but have like just a little bit of personality. And then this one's just the teeny tiniest bud vase, and I can't get over it. I'm always moving them around to like different rooms and stuff. And just recently put them here all together. I kind of like them as like a little family. I think my subscribers on YouTube love this little corner as much as I do. Like this really is what sold me on the apartment. And I feel like on my YouTube channel, it's almost become like the main stage that most of my videos take place on. I think it's very easily recognizable to subscribers. This feels like if I had to pick one corner of the home to represent my home, it's right in here. This is some of my haunted artwork. I've been told I have a lot of creepy artwork in the home, but I just love a moody feel, like a little haunted feel. I think I'm a little bit haunted. This is a vintage original piece that was given to me by like a family member who passed away and was a pretty neat art collector. I love that one. It's weird. It kind of freaks me out. And it's beautiful, like this original vintage frame. Bookshelves, also made by hand by my brother. People ask me all the time where I got these, and I've told him he should sell them, but I think they took so many weeks to make these guys that he can't even really mass produce them. But I love them here. We designed these together. I wanted something specifically kind of to frame out this side of the windows, because I've got art frames over on that side, and I needed a place for my books, but I didn't want it to be too heavy. Literally from sitting in the chair I always work in and looking at it this angle, so we kind of like carved out the sides. It was a total design collaboration, and I love them. This is an accidental figurine collection. I did not intend to start collecting these. It just happened to me. I never thought I would be like a figurine collector, but my boyfriend gave me this tiny little fox. My brother gave me this small duck with no explanation. A friend gave me this teeny tiny hummingbird, and I found this little ladybug. I don't know, I just love small guys, and all of a sudden I have a tiny zoo. I feel like I have to like limit it because it just keeps expanding, but I also really love them. They just hang out on this shelf. So over on the other side of my windows, I have a set of portraits. I actually did these. These were just a fun DIY. They're called blind contourings, where you try and draw without looking at the paper. So you like close your eyes or you just don't look down at it. And they're like, this is my dad. That's my sister. My mom's up there. My other sister. My brother is not up here. My brother is hard to draw. but I owe him a portrait. So these are, yeah, just kind of little scribbled blind contourings of my family and frames I thrifted, and I love them up here. I really love them. This is a little mini DIY I did. This is a modern lamp I got from Rejuvenation. I love that it's just like a little fat boy. I love that. Just kind of some weight to the lamp, but it had a plain white lampshade, and I just wanted the lampshade to be more autumnal, to mix in with my space. So I just took a piece of like really thin fabric spray adhesive and stuck it on there. Pretty easy. I love it. I did it to another lampshade over there too, but really, really easy DIY. And then I can't remember where this side table is from, but I do like this guy a lot. I love the green like marble top and then the pedestal base. I feel very aware of balancing legginess in a space, like having too many pieces of furniture that have like spindly legs feels very busy, just like very visually busy, and I think it can make a space overwhelming really quickly, even though it's just like a table. So I love having like pedestal pieces like that. This is another vintage piece of art, vintage like original frame that was given to me by this family member who passed away. It's called Birthday Party, and I think this is one of the pieces that like the bright colors and modern pops is not something I would have like guessed would fit with my space, but it's one of those pieces that end up being really surprising, like a kind of modern touch that feels like really nice friction, really nice contrast with a lot of the other vintage pieces I own. So I love like trying to surprise myself with what I like, throwing in something unexpected. How many coffee tables did I go through before this one? I think I tried like 3 or 4 different coffee tables, and eventually ended up going with this guy from Blue Dot. And I love that it's just metal. It is pretty much impossible to break or scuff up. It's round, which I think is really good when you kind of a tight space, that it's like you're not gonna nick your knee on a corner or something like that. I put my feet on it when I feel like it. I put hot coffee down on it, red wine, it's seen it all, and it's just very durable. And then the color of it, I think, matches really nicely with the space. I have a lot of fun doing, always changing the styling. Gotta have your coffee table books. And then just like little trinkets, gifts people have given me. I always have candles going. I love like candle paraphernalia and accessories. Like these are like wick cutting scissors, specifically for cutting the wick of a candle, or, you know, finding like matches. I love like a pretty but functional accessory. I think a lot of my accessories also have a functional use. Here are 2 more items made by my brother again. This is kind of a little trinket dish. Very simple, but made of walnut. He made it, I love it. And then also this Ikebana vase right here, which I just think is like the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. There's always flowers in my home, I'll say that. I've also been through a couple rugs before landing on this guy. It is part jute and part wool. I believe a jute rug can be really scratchy and uncomfortable. I wouldn't usually recommend it in a living room, but this one is actually pretty comfortable, I think, because it's only partially jute. I like that there's pattern. I love that there's texture, but it also just like hides dirt well. You know, if people wear their shoes in here, it's really not a big deal. Again, just emphasizing livability. Nothing is precious. Things are meant to be used and lived in is really important to me. Like, I think if I had to like closely surveil everything I owned in the home, it would be really stressful. So I like that I don't really have to worry about it. And then over here is my whole like media console. This is just a piece from IKEA. And again, this is like one of those modern touches that I really love. It doesn't look like it would be in like a historic vintage designed home, but I like how it balances out everything else. And this just has so much storage in it. This is like storage and functionality for basically the whole home. Definitely need to have like a big bowl at the entryway. This is a big drop zone for just like random gadgets and things. Yeah, and then for styling, I like to just have a variety of textures. These are just random fabric samples I loved that didn't make it into my big artwork some of my books. This is an entire box. I love this. This is probably one of my favorite things. This is an entire box of cards that my boyfriend wrote me. It's like 50 different handwritten cards he wrote when we were spending time apart, and I just had like a really hard time being apart, and he like hid envelopes all throughout my house for me to open each day. It's probably like the nicest thing anyone's ever done for me. And he gave me this box too, which is really pretty. So that sits right here, and sometimes I still like just open them and read them, and they're the best, yeah. I do have a TV, scandalous. I know a lot of people are bothered by seeing a TV, but I don't know, it's never really bothered me. It feels like an expected part of a home. But I do think something that helps is like not just having it starkly against a white wall, so kind of camouflaging it in to a little bit of a gallery wall here, makes it feel more intentional. Other design tip I will say is making sure that the furniture unit underneath your TV is, I want to say like twice as wide as your television at least. I think when you just have like a little scrimpy unit under your TV and it's only as wide as your TV is, then it feels kind of weird. But this feels a little more like, I don't know, anchored and balanced to me. And then up on the wall are a bunch of like thrifted pieces, some original artworks I was given. Oh, this is a fun one. I started pressing flowers. I really do love flowers. And I just like framed them in a vintage frame that I thrifted. And this is like a flower from, it's a very typical flower, star jasmine from Savannah. So like when I went on a trip to Savannah, I just like picked a flower that it smelled really good and I was seeing it the whole trip. And yeah, just framing it feels like a fun way to do a trip memento. This is like the main entrance to the apartment. And so I've tried my best to kind of make it an entryway, even though we're just immediately in my living room. Just having like a hook to hang up my own coat, scarf. I do usually leave my shoes there. And then when guests come, I usually like throw a coat over this chair. I really wanted to kind of like complete the circle of seating in this living room. It's mostly just room for my couch, but then having this additional seat, like it does make a big difference that you don't have to like sit and talk to each other side by side on the couch, just to be able to sit here. This was like a small little chair. Thrifted this guy, recovered. You can see the original fabric of this cushion, and I literally just did spray adhesive and covered it up. And that works just fine. All right, come this way and we'll walk deeper into the apartment. This is something that just happened functionally. I needed a place to hang my purses, and rather than putting them all on like one hook, I just decided I should do something weird vertically. So again, it's like something like functionally I needed it, but also really like having them hung up and being able to see them all, and there's nowhere else they could go. So I like that. This is I don't know what this is. I thrifted this artwork. I love portraits, especially of like, I don't know, kind of creepy ones. A lot of people, I don't know, a lot of people don't like portraits. I think people are like, either they love portraits or they don't want to see that many faces in their home. I love having all my friends around. They're great. This is a rabbi, I believe, but yeah. I definitely had to discover my love for interior design. I've had a couple different careers. I was an actor for many years, and I eventually quit, and then I went into tech because I just wanted a salary. I was a software developer for a few years, and then COVID hit and we were all just stuck at home and watching YouTube, and I was watching a lot of DIY decor videos. I was really kind of nesting, and after like a year or so of decorating my home, doing home projects, and watching videos, I had this delusional thought where I was just like, I feel like I could make these videos. Like I'm comfortable on camera, I'm comfortable talking, I'm doing the projects anyway, I might as well film them. And that's how I first started YouTube. I continued working in tech for a while, then after another year or so, I was able to quit my tech job, and I have just done YouTube full time. And I think the more I've learned about what spaces I like and what decor I like, the more all-consuming it is. And then about 2 years ago, I started another business, which is my podcast. The podcast isn't really interior design focused. It's more focused for a young 20 to 40s female audience, just reflecting on Yeah, different life stage challenges. I felt like being in my 20s was pretty difficult. And so I'm on the podcast with a friend, kind of just like talking through things that we know different people our age or younger struggled with a lot. It's a lot of fun. Okay, right in here is my little baby bathroom. It's very tight. And it's got all the basics. I would say, honestly, this is probably my least favorite room in the apartment. I do like it, and what did I do? I put up some like renter-friendly wallpaper. I added this little piece of molding and just painted that, like chose a color from the wallpaper and painted that, and then painted the top. I do like it. I don't know if it's my favorite, but it does feel a lot more like me than just the like gray walls that were in here before. I changed out like the lighting fixture, and I put up a couple little pieces of art. This is a little piece I made. Can you see? It's just like a very special toilet that I felt inspired to make. I like that guy just right here. I kind of like putting art in a weird random place. That's kind of all there is in here, but let's go into my bedroom. This is my bedroom, and it is small, but that also means it's very cozy, which I love. I think it helps that it has high ceilings. Maybe it's 10-foot ceilings, and I think that makes it feel a lot less claustrophobic. So many thrifted things in here. This is a dresser that I thrifted, and I love, yeah, that it's like old and has just like a little bit of detail, not too busy, but I do really like using like a full drawer dresser as a nightstand, so you can just fit lots of stuff in here. Little vintage library lamp that I got off of eBay. Keep some of my books in here, and another little vase with like a sweet little arrangement. I just love having like fresh flowers kind of wherever I can. And then these are more pressed flowers, and like a little frame that I just wallpapered over. I think actually one of my favorite things in the bedroom is just this little like faux leather tray. It's really simple, but I think it's a beautiful color, and I love corralling a bunch of small items. So like instead of just like having loose stuff on there, it's like that's even fewer items than adding the tray. But to me, adding the tray just makes it feel way more curated and styled, intentional, and it contains the chaos to me. So I love that guy. This right here is one of my other favorite little like vignettes, I would call it, in the room, because it's the first thing I see when I walk into the bedroom. I always think about like that the first impression when you walk into a room. So when I walk in, I see this beautiful sconce that I love, a little thrifted artwork with like a beautiful old frame, my curtains coming down, and I just like love this little window right here. It makes me very happy. Again, aiming for those like 3 light sources in the bedroom. And then some more art that I thrifted, and I thrifted the bed too. I got this bed for like $100 off of Craigslist, I believe, and someone did die in this bed, which I was only told once I'd already paid for it, and I was like going to pick it up, and this guy was like helping me attach the bed to my car. So I just felt like I was in too deep, and now I have it, and things have been going okay since I've had it, but yeah, someone did die in this bed. Okay, so speaking of the high ceilings, there's wallpaper up there, you will see. I originally wanted to wallpaper just like all the walls of the room, and ultimately decided that it was too expensive. Like I could not afford wallpaper for all the walls. It was just too much for me at the time. And so I decided to instead wallpaper the ceiling, because I felt like it would actually give a similar impact. I don't like doing an accent wall. That always feels a little off balance to me, but the ceiling is still like centered and balanced and symmetrical. It's a renter-friendly wallpaper. My brother helped me put it up. I don't know that I would do it again. It really hurt my back. It is hard to apply wallpaper to a ceiling. I feel like if I did it again, I mean, I love the look of it, but I would pay someone to do it next time. I do genuinely love it though. Just like I will lay in bed all the time and just stare at the wallpaper, and I don't know, that's like a great time to me. So this dresser was one of the first things I bought for the apartment. It's a vintage dresser. I love the dark wood, the way it pops against white walls. I love that combination. And I knew in this tiny bedroom I needed like really space-saving furniture. So I like that it's like tall and skinny without taking up too much other space. Yeah, then I just like, this is probably like a cake plate or something that I use to hold headbands and hair accessories. I love headbands. I really do. I don't know if any of these are that special, but ow, I hit myself in the face a little bit. But I just feel like headbands are like very core to who I am. Ta-da. I don't know if that was a good impression. But we've got like, okay, spring, summer headband. Love it. Light. Winter, autumn headband. You've headbands for every time of year. I think we need more headbands in the world, personally. Framed up here is actually a little painting that my sister did. It was a card that, I think it was an anniversary card that my boyfriend gave me, and he commissioned my sister to paint it. So that's special in like 100 different ways. I really like that up there. What else do I want to show you? I really like this like weirdo pleated lampshade, but I really like finding lamps that have like a cool shape to them. I feel like it brings a lot of dimension and personality to a space. A bunch more thrifted items over in this corner. This is my mirror that I basically use to like get dressed and make sure I don't look insane every day. Another bentwood chair with like original caning. I just think these are really beautiful. I'll say like these aren't the most comfortable lounge chairs, but I do think they're beautiful. And I personally think everyone needs at least one chair in their bedroom, even if you have a tiny bedroom like mine. No one's sitting here, but all the dirty clothes are going on the chair. And that is important because then they're not on the floor. And then right over here is this like beautiful fireplace in the bedroom. It's not functioning, but it still is like a really nice architectural touch. I like to use this surface area. I've got all my like perfumes, some artworks I love, more jewelry boxes. I did tile over this fireplace as well. It was again just like a stark black stone that just felt like very intense for the room. So this is a renter-friendly tile, and I really, really love this tile. I feel like it's kind of a surprising choice in the room. It's not overly matchy-matchy, and that's what helps it feel like very personal and kind of like my specific spirit. It's not like an obvious choice maybe, but I do feel like it works. It was a little bit of a risk, but I like it. I also painted the inside of the fireplace black. You can get like a heat-resistant or heat-safe paint that's for fireplaces. It just made like a big impact, made it a little dramatic. And then this mirror is a little newer addition. I've been really liking just like some silver or like polished nickel or chrome touches as metal accents. And I think it's also really important for me to remember to mix in like curves, where there's like a lot of rectangles going on over here, then some kind of curved shape, I feel like brings a lot of balance. I like it. I think one of the most important steps to finding your design style is just experimenting. You have to experiment, and with experimenting, you're going to have some flops. That's just part of it. That is how you find your style. I think if you are determined to find your style but like never make a mistake, then you're gonna stay paralyzed for a while. So for me, wanting to stay budget conscious but also wanting to experiment, I don't advise splurging on that like super expensive purple ridiculous couch that like could be cool but you're not sure. I think it's a lot better to go with like something kind of neutral, something kind of classic, and then experiment with your throw pillows, with your accessories, with your side table, with your throw blanket, the things that you can swap out easier. And you know, if you buy one throw pillow and then you're like, that's actually not really my style, you don't have to cry that much because it's just a throw pillow. And just doing that slowly and being comfortable experimenting, it really is the key. So this is my tiny little hallway down here coming out of the bedroom. And I guess the first thing I added was this vintage little mini wardrobe. I think it's so beautiful and very functionally necessary because in the bathroom there is almost no storage. There's no under sink storage. There's no cabinet. There's just like two little shelves. So this is all my like toiletry, bathroom storage. And it's a nice like narrow guy that fits right in this hall. I really, really do love this. I love like, adding custom or vintage wardrobes and stuff to a space if you don't have enough closets. I think it's just like even more fun, and then you can take them with you if you ever move. And then the hallway itself is like very narrow. It's hard to squeeze through here. It's very narrow. And I basically use the hallway as storage for artwork that I don't like have another home for yet. And all the artwork is thrown up very haphazardly. I like this to be a very relaxed space. It's not like overly curated. I did not map it out as a gallery wall or anything. It was actually inspired a lot by my grandparents. They had this one hallway in their home that was just covered in family photos and, like floor to ceiling family photos. And as a kid, it was so fun to walk through that hall. We would just like look at the photos and look at the stuff in that hallway every time we went over. And so I kind of wanted to replicate that experience in my home. And so up here, it's like a mix of family photographs. It's me and my sister. There's a mix of DIYs, of vintage art, and there's also a lot of artworks done by people I know. I feel like I have a lot of very talented friends and family. So this is an original painting by one of my dear friends. I bought that guy from her. This is another original painting that my sister did as a gift to me. There are probably a couple more haunted art pieces. Well, here's another set. These are some like lithograph prints that I got in Amsterdam, and they are like 18th century medical textbook drawings of like how to wrap a dead body or like bacteria under a microscope, some dental drawings. I don't find these to be haunted, but a lot of people don't like them. And I think that means you're onto something. If you're hanging up art that every single person likes, then you're probably just living in a department store. I think it should be a little bit alienating, and I really like these guys a lot. Right over here is my YouTube plaque. YouTube gives out 3 like plaque awards to YouTubers when you reach a certain number of subscribers. This is the lowest one. This is the baby one that I got when I passed 100,000 subscribers on my channel. And I just got it framed in this cool like emerald frame. And I don't know what it says about me that I have it hanging up, but like I am proud of it. And it does mean a lot to me because I think doing YouTube, it's like the best thing that's happened in my life, and I just stumbled upon it, and I really struggled through several careers before then. So I don't take it for granted that I found something that I really love and that is like, that works for me. It's a big deal, and I like try to, I don't know, I just feel very appreciative of it every day. And this is a photo that my dad took. That's me, my brother, my older sister, my youngest sister wasn't around yet, but I think this is like one of my all-time favorite sibling photos. And then my dad printed it out large for me one year and gave me that as a gift. I really, really love that one. I think honestly, my favorite thing about my space is not even my own styling. It's just the amount of natural light. That is such a big deal for me, like wanting to not be depressed. A lot of one-bedroom apartments like this that I looked at didn't have like a window in the kitchen or didn't have windows in the bedroom. And to find a spot that has windows in the living room, kitchen, bedroom, there's none in the bathroom, but I make do. It just helps me feel connected to the outside world. I work from home, so I don't feel isolated. It feels energizing, and natural light just also makes your space look prettier. I think one of the best compliments I've received about my space is when people come in and they say it feels calming or peaceful. I've gotten that a couple times, like they feel at home here. They want to stay and work from home in my home because it just feels like, it doesn't feel foreign. It doesn't feel like a showpiece. It just feels welcoming and comfortable. I love that. So right off the hallway is my little kitchen. It is pretty small, but I'm not a great cook, so I will say it works for me. And it does have a window coming off of it, which I don't know, I need that natural light, so I really appreciate it. In order to work with like the red cherry cabinets. I picked out this renter-friendly backsplash tile, just peels right off, sticks right on. It's kind of in a blue-gray hue. It's lower saturation than the cabinets, so it balances out the cabinets both in saturation and on the color wheel, and I just like love how they pop together. There is not, I don't think there's a speck of blue like anywhere else in my home, but in this room working with the cabinets, I ended up really, really loving it. And then I just painted the rest of the walls blue. It's got like the 10-foot ceilings in here again, which is nice because it's very small otherwise. And then I didn't change too much. I added these little polished nickel, kind of spherical cabinet knobs, which I really love. I like to think a lot about like the touch points of your home. It's just a small upgrade, but you're touching it all the time. And I think that like tactile experience can make a big difference. And then I just spent time layering lots of wood pieces in, colors I love. There's cutting boards everywhere. You'll never be short on cutting boards. And you know, nice little counter accent lamp. I don't usually like to turn on the overhead lighting. I like to do like the small lamps. Just makes it feel cozier and sweet. Yeah, I like putting up like one little artwork. I think this is also a postcard that a friend sent me just from a museum, and threw it in a frame, called it a day. I like that kind of as the focal piece. I did add in this tiny little rug. It's got kind of like gold ochre tones that match more or less with the curtains I have in my living room. I just love this color. I like that it warms up the floor a little bit, but it's also like fine to be in a kitchen and get scuffed up and stuff. Okay, I really, really love dishware. I probably have a dishware fetish. I might have to show you my glassware collection as well. And I love tiny bowls. I feel like I just like need little tiny bowls all the time. These are bowls that I got in Italy. I really love these little guys. And yeah, just use them while I'm cooking. I mean, I'm not cooking, my boyfriend's cooking, but like I like to leave them out and accessible. And then these are little ones that I got, I think in Copenhagen, just like little clay pieces. I don't know, I'm always putting stuff in little bowls. Okay, speaking of cups and glassware, I think probably my one addiction is collecting vintage glassware. I keep it in here. I am running out of space. I'm just gonna show you some of my favorites, okay? So all the glassware is vintage. I either get it off of like Etsy, or eBay or Craigslist or Facebook Marketplace. I love a lot of amber tones or like smoked glasses. This has this weird little texture to it. I love these guys, and I'll use them for anything. Like this can be a wine glass to me. Actually, probably better for me to have a stemless wine glass. Let me show you what else I got. I thrifted this one set that is a bunch of sizes of this kind of smoked Japanese glass. I just love the profiles of them. Then I've got my wine glasses, amber again, but I love these guys. I can't tell you how good it looks to just put like red wine in one of these. It's very pleasing to me. And this again is like, glassware again is like one of those touch points in your home where you're literally holding it, you're interacting with it. The feel of the glass, like the thickness of the glass, the weight of it is all, I don't know, so important to me. And so these are some of the guys I really love. I keep all my dishes right in here, and I do love like slowly collecting my dish collection. I think I'm still working on it, but these are some of my favorite plates. I just got these from Goodwill, a whole set of them, and I think they're really beautiful. And then I love finding like ways to layer them with other plates. So for example, I found these other larger plates in an antique store, and I specifically got them because they pair well with the Goodwill plates. Those go on top there, and then they also came with a little bowl that goes on top, and I just like love the fun way that they layer together. So right around here, not too much going on. I just try to throw in like little accessories that I love. So some kitchen towels that I think I got Ooh, maybe Copenhagen, I can't remember. Over on this wall, I had a lot of fun just with accessories. I think I just discovered how, like, what colors I love to pop against the blue wall, which, as I said, there's blue like nowhere else in my home. But I ended up really loving just experimenting with different colors and having like the pops of purple or the pops of these other like autumn colors that you can find elsewhere in my home. This is that ochre I love again, but it's like even more fun and different when you place it against the blue. I've got a little family photo over here. This is just a postcard I framed, and another postcard, and I took wrapping paper and did a little Mod Podge over this frame to customize that. Another creepy portrait that people may or may not like. I love these guys. I could have like portraits of old men everywhere. I don't know why they always like, there's just a good time to me. There's always such a character. I did add one little sconce up here that probably needs to be dusted, but I like adding in that light source. And then this is a little marble washstand. This is an antique washstand that I got, I don't know, probably for like 50 bucks off of Marketplace. And that usually holds liquor, or I keep like a bunch of towels in here, coffee beans, stuff like that. So trying to make the most out of storage in a small kitchen, and then like, you know, sometimes I make drinks over here, stuff like that. But I really love this corner. I actually think that like this little vignette is probably one of my favorites in the whole apartment. This right here, I feel like people always ask about. This is the first thing that my brother made from wood and we designed together. It's a custom honey jar with this little walnut dipper. I was doing a makeover, like a kitchen makeover video for my space, and I was really focused on finding like beautiful decorative functional pieces, such as for my honey jar. And I couldn't find any honey jars I liked, none. I didn't like any of them. And so I like asked him to make me one, and we designed this guy together. So that's like very, very special. You can buy those now, but yeah, that's like one of the first things that we designed and together and he made. I think the soul and spirit of a home is not so much about like buying the weirdest, wildest statement pieces. I think it's more about unique styling. It's more about how you uniquely have put a couple things together. It might be a couple things that are like kind of average or kind of normal looking, but only you would style them that way. Only you would layer them on a bookshelf that way. And just having that collection, that curated array of items that you've collected over time. I would say the hardest way to have soul in a home is to like move into a place and buy everything online all at once, to like try and furnish a home in a day. I'm not gonna say it's gonna be an ugly home, but it will be harder for it to feel really personal to you. I think a home to me just needs to be that place that I'm like craving to go back to, craving to recharge. I definitely am a homebody, which is probably why I've ended up with a YouTube channel all about just being in my home. I love being at home. I love alone time. And so a home to me is not so much about like other people seeing it and complimenting it. I actually kind of rarely have people over. It really is just for me to like be in my cocoon and recharge after all, you know, of a busy day. Thank you so much for coming into my home, Homeworthy. It was really fun to give you a little tour, talk about some of my favorite things. I do need to recharge as an introvert now though, so you have to leave. Sorry, but I'll have you back soon. Bye.
Thanks for watching. Be sure to go to homeworthy.com for exclusive content, shopping guides, and so much more.